Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Fox and the Pointer Outdoors. So a couple weeks ago, the guys went out to Missouri and we had an amazing experience thanks to Grant Wilson. His family has some acreage out in Missouri, and for the past couple months we had talked about, possibly taking a trip out there to go hunt some deer. Didn't know when, didn't have anything set in stone. But we got around to it, and we finally got a plan going, and we got to get out there. And man, let me tell you, it was a great time. A lot of bonding moments, bonfire moments, cooking, hunting, riding four-wheelers, cracking jokes. I mean, it was a great time, and any of the other guys will tell you that. Shane harvested a good buck. I was able to get a good buck. Grant just recently, at that same property a couple days ago, had just got a great buck. But let's talk about the trip. Let me get back onto that. And so first day, we get there, and it's Thursday morning, and we had talked about, possibly who's going to go hunt with who's going to film where. We really didn't know, but we just knew we were going to get up and go deer hunt in the morning, and we're excited. It had been cold previously, the previous couple days before we got there, so we're hunting in conditions where, it's peak, I wouldn't say peak rut, it's just getting to peak rut. These bucks are starting to chase there. Things were getting exciting. It's cold, and so we're just ready to get out there. So me and Gail get up about 5:30 in the morning. Everyone got up at that same time as well, and we head out to the stand, and we get out there, get set up, I'd say around 6 in the morning. And it's just me and him, and the way he's set up, he's about 5 to 10 feet taller on another side of a trunk of the same tree we're all sitting in, facing away from this clear cut out field that we're facing and hunting on that day. And I'm kind of facing on the outside of that tree, a little bit closer. And the sun comes up, and we saw a good, probably 120-inch 8-pointer walk out. First deer we had seen on the trip. So thought that deer was going to walk into a shooting lane where I would have a shot on him, and he didn't. And that's how it goes. So long story short, that deer came in to check a mock scrape that Grant had set there previously. And we'd be getting trail cam pics from Grant of these deer going here, there, and whatnot up to the trip. So it was cool to see that. Buck walks off. We're in the tree. I'm with Carter, and we're kind of like, man, that's got our blood boiling now. Like, let's see what goes on. So after that first deer, a big deer walks in. 2 hours goes by, I would say. A solid 2 hours, and nothing. Dead silence. Didn't even see any squirrels that day. And here, I'm sitting there, and I'm on my phone. And Gail's behind me, and I hear Carter saying, Connor, Connor, Connor. So I turn around, and I see Carter. And he's not looking at me, but he's kind of pointing that way. And I look, and he's like, there's a buck, there's a buck. And I see what ended up being the buck I shot. And like I said, where we were on this field line, basically on transition with these tree lines where the field is. And this buck came on a beeline straight down this transition. And Carter was kind of exposed, but he's filming. And so I'm, kind of looking around the tree. Carter's right here. I see this deer. But what I also knew is that our wind was crossing kind of at a crossway, right? So I knew if this deer stepped in a certain spot, he was going to get our wind, but I knew if he stepped where I needed him to, I'm putting a shot on him. And he did just that at first. He winded up going to where that bigger buck I was telling y'all about walked to, and he needed to take a couple more steps, and I could have shot him. But I don't know what was going on with that deer. They're doing their own thing. He cuts back over into the tree line. And so I was at full draw on that deer for probably 20, 30 seconds. I have to de-draw, turn around, and I'm facing back into the wood lines now. And I know Carter was still in this buck with the camera. And, we're sitting there watching that deer he's licking his nose, putting his head up in the air. And I'm sitting here just reading this buck. I'm like, he's going to run off at any second. He's got our wind. We're figured out. But, he just sat there, and it was pretty much a stare down at 15, 20 yards. He's doing all this, looking right at us. He just couldn't figure us out. So he walks back into the field. He transitions back into the field and gets back into that same spot. And he's still playing that same game. He's, checking stuff out. He just knew something was up. And this deer was quartered to me, probably 25 yards at a very serious angle. But like I said, I knew that deer was on high alert in the stand, watching him, reading him, wanting to put a shot on this deer. So I knew that was my moment. Through the peep, I'm staring this deer in the eye, and we're kind of just looking at each other. And like I said, he's quartered to me, and I just saw an opening in his shoulder at the angle that I was at, and I knew I could put an ethical shot on him. But as that deer had swung around back out into the field, Carter was kind of getting adjusted with the camera and wasn't able to get the kill shot. So when that deer came across out into the field, I put a quartering to me shot on that deer, and he runs off, and that's where you'll see that deer running off in the video. And that deer goes, runs, we hear a crash. You know, we sit there and talk a little bit, get down from the stand, and you can see blood from the stand. I made a couple phone calls. I know I called Chase, I called my Uncle Sonny, and then gave it 15-20 minutes, and we started tracking, and we came up on that deer probably 60-70 yards from where I shot him. I made a great shot on him, and in the video you'll see the angle I'm talking about of the shot that I had taken on this buck. And I believe if I didn't take that shot, who knows what would have happened, but I'm glad I did, and y'all are going to see it here in the video. And we appreciate everything, and y'all stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. We made it out here to Central Missouri today. Got in the truck and ripped it out here after work. We're out here with Carter and Grant. Chase is on the way tomorrow. He's been hunting all week in Kentucky with his dad and his brother, and we're excited for him to roll on in here. And we can have the whole group here and get out into the deer stand and see if we can harvest a good buck. Tomorrow we're going to be sitting in two-man stands in two different locations here. Shane and Grant are going to be filming and hunting together, and me and Gail will be in the tree trying to get after a big old deer tomorrow. And we're gonna, after we hunt, I think we might get down and scout a little bit. Tomorrow's really gonna be what I think is just gonna kind of judge it out and see what's going on. I'm not really gonna put too much into it unless we see something that's worth shooting. So I'm excited. I know everyone else is excited, and can't wait to get out there.
What's up, guys? So me and Gail made it out to the tree this morning around 6:20. Got dug in out here on a beautiful spot. So what I'm seeing right now is some nice hardwoods with what I think is some bedding area over this way. And we got a nice field over here. We're kind of in this pinch point. And right at first light, we saw a doe come in, just moseying away, doing her thing. And then we had a good buck come in. The second deer we saw today, right here. And it was a matter of a couple steps of the deer walking where we needed it to. And we could have gotten a shot off. So we're on him out here in Missouri. And we're going to keep getting after him. just had a buck come in. We're sitting here for probably the last 30 minutes or so after we saw a good buck at sunrise, and I hear Carter saying, I see a deer, I see a deer, right in front of me, which is behind me. So I get turned around. I'm kind of looking around, just trying to see if I can see anything. And before I saw a deer, I hear him saying, buck, 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 buck. And so I caught a glimpse of the buck, and it was good deer, great deer. And got my bow in my hand, and he walks down this little corridor, cuts into this field, and almost walks into a window. I was going to take a shot on him, and I draw back for probably 30 seconds to a minute. He walks around, comes back this way through this corridor. I had to de-draw, turn around, and I was going to draw back on him over here in this spot. And he was just sifting around, and he had her win for a second. And he came back over here and got almost into that window again, and drew back, and I let it go, and I shot him. Put a good shot on that deer, and he took off. So we're about to give old Hamby a ring here. Me and Gail just got down out of the tree stand. It's been about 15-20 minutes, and we can already see blood, so we're gonna give it a little time, make a couple phone calls and get some people over here. We're gonna start tracking. Hey Chase, just smoked one, bro. Oh God, bro, oh God, I smoked one, and Gail's right here with me. Oh, he was a good 8-pointer. Had a great deer come in at sunrise, and basically walked through the same shooting lane almost, and I was about to shoot that. So we got him, boys. I can't put into words right here how exciting this feeling this is. What a shot! You see the angle of that shot right there? Oh man, what a deer! That is awesome right there. That's a great deer. Man. Look at all the little tracks he's got right down in here. And you can tell he was just rubbing right here. Man, I'm glad I put a good shot on this deer. This was tough to get drawn back on this guy. I think he was on to us for sure. I know he had our wind the way he came in at one point in time. But I knew if I just waited until he got out on the other side of the field, I could put a good shot on this deer. So glad we were able to get to him. I can't believe this. This is amazing. Missouri, baby. Whew. Man.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, brother. Dude, let's go. All right. So we finally recovered the buck out here in Missouri, and it is a beautiful morning. The conditions were right. It was a great 40-degree morning. This was the third deer we saw, and the second deer we saw was a great buck as well. But I'm glad I was able to get a good shot on this deer, and I'm just thankful for the guys here in Missouri, Carter Gale and Grant Wilson, for letting us hunt out here. They're the reason we got to get on this property and get to hunt these great deer. So, man, just at a loss for words right now. There's a lot of days put in for this, a lot of hours, a lot of sits, and I'm glad we got to make it come together here in Missouri. Whew. This is awesome. This is awesome. I'll never forget this right here.
Alright, we're back at camp now. Connor shot a nice buck this morning, and I'm just following through on my duties of camp cook. So we got some of Connor's backstrap, and we brought some from the house, just some butterfly backstrap on the cast iron. We got some cone in the jet boil. And last but not least, we've got the Bush's baked beans just rolling in the pot. So
hey, I do want to say, at every good deer camp, you got a pretty good chef, and he's it. So we're glad to have him here.
So we're searing meat. Me and Grant hung a set earlier, saw a really nice buck in there, have some good pictures in there at the watering hole. So me and Grant are gonna hop in there tonight here in just a couple hours, and hopefully I can get it done. And Chase is on his way, so I think he's gonna be here like 5 o'clock. It's like 1:30 now, so Grant's shooting his bow. I shot last night. I'm dialed. I'm ready to go kill a deer. So we're gonna eat lunch, and then we're gonna go hop in the stand and get ready to turn this thing back on.